There we go. We've had many questions to ask if we were going to have this recorded, and we are now. Thank you so much. Also, copies available. If you would like the minutes of last meeting, the last annual meeting last year, please let me know. I can get a copy to you for that, as well as any copies that you want of anything that is done for today. I can send those to you by email, so just let me know. You can send it directly to me, or you can send it to the CSL 91 at gmail.com. Touch the screen. There we go. Okay. So according to the bylaws, the Board of Trustees is the governing body of this organization. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and the Board of Trustees are the ones that take care of the business at hand. We take care of the financials, we take care of manage the corporate part of it, so to speak. That is in the current bylaw or the previous bylaws, as well as the new bylaws that we're going to be talking about today. So that's who the Board of Trustees are. Our current Board of Trustees in 2023, and today we're moving into the 2024 Board of Trustees, but currently Reverend Sharon Dunn-Alberg is our senior minister. I am the president. Our vice president and secretary is Carol Unterseher, and she's online with us. Thank you, Carol, for being here. You might just noted. We have two members at large. We have Margie Lueckfeld and Max Overland, both of which are practitioners. And so that is our core of officers. And then Corey has been serving as our treasurer as a non-board member this past year. And I'm so thankful for her. She helps me get day-to-day stuff done when I can't be 6 places at once. You know how that goes? Okay, so our Reverend Sharon has put together a very special video for us to all watch, kind of giving us an overview of what happened in 2023. Please enjoy this video. Thank you. That was fun looking at all these pictures, wasn't it? Okay, now's really the exciting part. Financial. I know.
It is exciting.
It is exciting for some of us. For some of you, you're like me. Okay, I'm going to go through this. I do want to preface this with the information that we halfway through the year started with a new bookkeeper, and it's been a blessing. They had a lot of things to clean up, including our chart of accounts. And so the numbers you see here, there may be a few of them that are a little off, but it gives you the overall perspective of where we are from year to year, give or take some numbers here and there. And the reason I'm saying that is that as we have gone through and I pulled slides from other years, and this is what we said, other years, it looks a little different after they changed those chart of accounts. And I haven't had a chance to change the slides to reflect that. But I guarantee that what you're seeing for this year, for 2023, that we're looking at is 100% correct. And our bookkeepers are doing a great job of getting us back to where we should be. So don't hold me to that it's $4,329.27. It may be 4,500 or it may be 5,000. It's in that range though. So we will fix those up, and the good news is that by the time we have a budget meeting with our budget committee, the numbers will be all right. Okay. So let's start with, yeah, can you do that over there? We're gonna move our Zoom people out of the way a little bit so we can see the screen a little better. There we go. That works. So our income for 2023, you will see, was a really good income, but a lot of it was special funding. Can you guess what the special funding was for? The building. Yeah. So we had some really great response from our community to help work on this building. Our tithes were good, but they were down a little bit from what we normally do. And that makes sense because we're spending our money on the building. So, but overall, that was our total income. 58,300. That's correct. That's a lot, but like I said, a lot of it has to do with the building. Here's our expenses. Now our expenses were a little bit more. In fact, we have a net loss of over $2,000. Well, now for a nonprofit organization, that's not bad. Actually, it's pretty good. And considering our budget that we started out with, we're pretty doggone close to what we expected. Now, of course, our expenses have changed a lot because now we own a building. Now we have a SMUD bill, we have a PG&E bill, we have an internet and phone system. Lots of things are different, and so our expenses are really changing from what we were doing with the community center. So, but again, it's not far off from what we expected. Here's our income by year, but I think this actually, yes, this is our income per year. Like I said, it's a little off in those past years, 2019, 20. Let me move your people a little. We're gonna, there we go. We'll bring it back. This way you can see the years better. So, can you believe in 2021 how much income we had? But we were still kind of shut down. We were in COVID. We were not meeting in person. But again, we need to fix some of those other years. But the year of 2023 is correct. We did really well. And again, a lot of it was that fundraising we did for the building. So we did good. Now these are tithes. I'm going to tell you a story about tithing. when I was a kid and I would go to the Methodist church with my parents, I thought tithing was you opened up your purse or your wallet and you took out your change, whatever you had in. Did anybody feel that way when they were a kid? I found out much later that tithing is a totally different thing. It's about committing to the organization that you're a part of a line item on your own budget. It's about committing to taking care of that community that you belong to, that you feel like is part of your home. So our tithing is one of our main ways that we survive. Obviously, we need to do more. We need to have classes, we need to have events. We're hoping we're going to have concerts coming up, things like that. But it's the community members who commit to that tithing and commit to being a part of that community. It really is how we pay the bills. That's how we take care of our financial duties. So it's so important that those tithers remember at the first of the month, if your bills are due, so are ours. Expenses by year. Now this is an interesting chart because the 2023 is totally askew because the remodel costs really made a huge difference in our total expenses. But compared to some of the other years, our expenses are lower than some. But you add the remodel costs, we're way above. So as we look forward to next year, we're going to have to really take a look at what is our expenses for working on this building. What are the expenses for running our organization? They're completely two different things. And first and foremost, we need to be paying our bills. And I just paid the first lease payment on March 1st. So, trusting spirit, right? Profit and loss by years. Again, these numbers are a little askew because I haven't had a chance to really compare what the new bookkeeper said to what the old bookkeeper said. But it does show that, I don't think that's correct. But it's showing that our losses are much better than what it could be. But of course, we'd rather have at least break even. We'd rather have a little bit of a net increase. That being said, we are nonprofit and we don't want a whole lot of money. We just want to make enough to put it in the building or have some in savings. So, okay. And we'd kind of like to have a janitor someday and be able to pay a janitor. Wouldn't that be nice? Attendance. This is really cool. Now I'm going to go through a couple of years. This is 2021, and we were in the middle of. We only had a couple of in-person times. Most of it was all online, but we were doing pretty good. 2022, we had more in person. And we were still using Zoom. So that was when we were doing first and third, and then second and fourth and fifth on Zoom. Yeah, we didn't know, is it the first Sunday? Is it second Sunday? What Sunday is it? But we were doing well. Here's 2023. We no longer meet on Zoom past, what was it? July. We had a little bit in July, but August we started going full time in person. Look at those totals, and our live on YouTube has gone up. Those are people that are actually with us while we're videoing, and then the later views, the people that come back and watch later. My daughter and son-in-law have 3 kids, so they don't come because there isn't a place for kids yet. But my son-in-law puts this on their TV every Sunday morning and they watch while we're live and in person. And I love that. So yeah, our attendance is showing that the community is excited about this place and the community is ready to come. And I know there's more waiting for a kid's place. And they're waiting for maybe the outside to, when they drive by, go, oh, that is a spiritual center. Right now, I think there's people that think maybe it's a place where we have used goods or something. I don't know, because we have that parking lot staff. They probably think it's a, thrift shop. But we're gonna get there. Looking ahead to the 2024 budget, and I told you what I thought about tithing, but now that I'm in a spiritual center where I understand the circulation of abundance, tithing is so much more to me now because I've seen proof of the more I tithe to my community, the more I treat this like my second home, the more abundance that comes to me. I mean, not only because it's tax deductible, but because my abundance is growing by being a part of this community. When I need prayer, guess what happens? When I need help in my life, this is where I come. And my bank account shows that it makes sense too. It's kind of amazing. I keep looking at it like, how'd that get there? Anyway, I want to show you our current tithing. This is from last year. Or no, this is what we have done this year. Our current tithing is about $2,800 a month. And our estimated expenses are going to be $6,000 a month with the new lease payment. Now, remember, tithing is not our only income, so don't freak out. But it's important to understand that the day-to-day bills kind of do depend on our tithing, because we're building this community, and the community is waiting for us to show that it, the demonstration of that. So we're going to need probably about $875 per week to get us up to where we need. So how are we going to do that? We're going to have classes. We're going to have some events. Remember when we did Gourmet for God? Some of you remember, some of you don't. It's really cool. It's fun. We're going to have concerts. We're going to have workshops. And we're really hoping that when we get into the sanctuary and this area here becomes a classroom, we can sublease. That's where we're really going to make a difference in those everyday expenses, is being able to have classes here, some yoga classes or some self-help classes. We can have all kinds of, there's even somebody that wants to rent our space for a therapist sessions and recovery groups. We're helping the community on top of it by having those here in this space. And we're so close. We're so close. We just need to get into the sanctuary, pretty up a few things, have some extra lighting, get those things going, and I think that will happen. And so in the next couple of months, we're going to be busy. Looking forward to that volunteer day. So our budget committee will be called to order very soon, like in the next few weeks. As soon as we have our next board meeting, we're going to have that budget committee get together and get that going. And then you will be able to receive information about how that budget looks. But I'm excited that we're about ready to make that change to be able to take care of what's going to happen in 2024. Thank you for paying attention. Next on the agenda is the bylaws revision. So the board has approved a new revision of the bylaws. We did that at our last meeting. And so what we are asking for, and Reverend Sharon's going to talk about this, we're asking for ratification. You know what ratification means? So it's kind of like when your union agrees with the governing board what they're going to do, then the membership ratifies that or gives their stamp of approval. So that's what we're asking for today. And you want to talk about that?
I'm just going to give a little context to why did we change the bylaws. So when we are focused on inclusion and diversity as one of our shared values at Centers for Spiritual Living that we also believe to be important to us here in the Sacramento Center for Spiritual Living. And we had a model. The main thing we changed in the bylaws is the languaging of our members. And it has been uncomfortable where people come in and they don't want to join anything. They don't want to be a member of anything. It's kind of a new way of seeing things, thanks to the young folks that we want to attract, is that they want it to be more organic, where, people, it's like attraction rather than promotion, if you will, a recovery slogan that I really love. And, where we're not, asking them at the door if they want to become members. We had a form you fill out. We had, be a member, you can be a friend, whenever you decide you want to be a member. It was just a lot for people to take in. And we didn't get a good, we didn't get a good response to that mentality, if you will. And then you kind of think about, well, what is it? We had a definition of member. The problem also arose that we couldn't up with this idea of member being someone who can vote, and member being someone who can do this and that. But we never checked back on anyone. And so the problem with that kind of membership model is that you have people coming and going, and we're not following up. And so they've fallen off the membership idea or not. We can't seem to keep track of that. And there are models of software that you can incorporate into a 501c3, into something like this. It does its best to track people. I wasn't interested in tracking people. I was interested in attracting people. And so I thought, well, you know what? If we are living our principles, if we are a welcoming, inclusive community, if we are loving, if we are living our vision, mission, and purpose, people will come. And one thing, years of history of tracking people was like, well, how do we not become a revolving door where people come and don't stay? And I'm thinking, I don't want to do that. What happens if people want from here? What happens when they learn science of money, they move away, or they do this, or they...
Excuse me, Ruth. It's really hard to hear what you're saying, and I really want to hear. Can you get closer to the microphone?
He is on the microphone. It's not. Let me switch.
It is hard to hear.
It's incredibly hard to hear.
Okay, let me switch gears. Shut the thing off. Turn it on.
Do you understand though where we were going here with this?
Shut off the sound on that.
Sharon, I can hear you beautifully.
Yeah, better.
Much better.
Oh, much.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. So we'll just use this microphone, is that correct? We'll just all use this.
I just switched it where the sound's coming.
Whatever you did, Edna, you're amazing.
Yes.
So as I was saying, and I hope that everyone online got the gist of what I was saying. This whole idea of like our global community trying to figure out how we can end the revolving door. I thought of, no, that to me, that isn't what this is. To me, this is when I'm loving and caring, people come. When I'm fighting and controlling and, being my not highest self, people don't come. This is a place where the energy itself is going to attract
people. So then you say, well, what language can we use? So we've come up with the languaging of community rather than membership. We only have board members. There are no more members. And what we have is a community. And we have a core community. And we'll explain a little more of that as I think Max is gonna explain more of the detail. And so we have a way now of tracking the people that are active, which is what we're trying to do here, is like decide, are we doing good? Do we need to do something different in order to be attractive? And so the core community will be so easy to identify because those are the people that are here. Those are the people that, take classes, volunteer. It's the time, giving of their time, talent, and treasure. They come, they take classes, they participate in what we're doing, they volunteer, and they show up. And that's the community. Of course, then we have our core community that is even more, more active, our board members, our leaders, and that sort of thing. And so when it comes to voting, we don't have to try to figure out who's on our membership list anymore, because was too hard to track. Rather, we know we take attendance here, we know who's in, we know everything else. We know who's tithing, we know who's showing up to classes, we know all of that. And it's not a judgment, it's just a way of us knowing how we can be an organization, how we can be in integrity with our 501c3, and how we can vote and pass different laws and things that we want to incorporate. And so that's why we decided to look at the languaging. We've done it. It took us a year. It took us a year because no one else that I know of yet has come up with this kind of languaging. Let's not do all or none statements. The rumble I hear and have heard since 30 years, is more like, what can we do about membership? It's always been a tug and pull. And to me, it's like, I don't want to greet you at the door and ask you if you're a member or not a member. I want to greet you with welcome. Welcome. How can I serve you? And how can I do better? So any questions on the context?
I had a question about the tithing. How you track tithing when some people give cash? You track the membership on.
We are hoping that when people give cash, if they want the tax write-off, that they put their cash in the envelopes with their name on it. If they just throw it in the basket, we can't. So we have really good checks and balances here. And I feel like it's just a lot more welcoming. Any other questions?
Max,
Yes.
would you like to kind of just give us a rundown of the core or of the community?
Of the structure.
The structure, please.
All right, thank you, Ruth. Thank you, Reverend Sharon. The language here is what I'm actually going to read for everyone. The structure of our community is those who attend SC, their Sacramento Center for Spiritual Living services and events. That's everybody. Committed community, those who attend on a regular basis and share the values of Sacramento Center for Spiritual Living, supporting and volunteering when possible. The core community are those who are active, supporting, and living the science of mind principles and are the core community. The core community supports Sacramento Center for Spiritual Living, its vision, mission, and purpose, sharing their time, talent, and treasure. The core community will serve as volunteers, leaders, and outreach ministries that contribute to the daily activities of Sacramento CSL. A core community individual may vote at the annual meeting and may serve on the Board of Trustees if they meet the requirements outlined in the bylaws. And then we have the Board of Trustees, the appointed or elected governing body that seeks to ensure the best interests of the community with responsibility for the organization's business management.
That's pretty much it in the nutshell, in a nutshell. And I can tell you, all the people that are in this room today are considered core community because you are in all those places. The other thing, we had a question on an email that wanted to know about the languaging precluding financial payment for board members. And so we have put some languaging in there because we have a candidate for our board who is gets a salary because she's the music director. So we wanted to make sure that we are being really careful here to make sure that a board member is not, one of those people that is going to vote themselves a raise.
Right.
Okay, and we will get to that raise hand in a minute. So we made sure to indicate that the rest of the board that is not paid members need to approve that person's salary, and that person has to exclude themselves from any kind of vote that has to do with their salary and needs to be separated from any of that financial issue. So can't be treasured. Things like that. What's the question that we have from Reverend Patricia?
Actually, you moved on to a whole new subject. I was still back at membership.
Hold on, Patricia. We have to be able to hear you. Where's the?
I took off here.
Okay. Patricia,
Now
go
you can
ahead.
hear me?
Now we can hear you.
Okay, actually, you moved on to a whole new section. My question was back at membership. But if we're gonna switch over to the board and financial thing, I do have a question there also, so I'll do that, which is, how do you handle, I guess, contracted incidental payments, like speakers and individual musicians and teachers and workshop leaders? How does that mesh with not being on the board if you're paid? That it's just not clear. I think the new language suddenly opens it up to what about the other things, where before it was real simple. It's the minister and the administrator and that's it. But once we open that up to other paid positions like the music director, and I'm not opposed to that in any way, shape, or form. I think Sue's an incredible potential for a board member. And I think the music ministry, in some sense, is fine to be on the board. I don't have any issue with that. It's just we've opened up this can of worms. So how do we handle all of that? How do you handle all of that?
Well, first of all, we are putting in the languaging that person cannot be part of the financial decision as to what their salary is. The rest of the board has to handle that, and they can't be in the position of writing their own checks, so they couldn't be treasurer or president.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to recuse themselves
Yeah, and they would have to
for any
recuse.
decision that's on the table that might reflect anything about their job.
Right, so they would need to take themselves out of any vote that had to have anything to do with their position.
Okay, so then any policy about what speakers are paid or what musicians are paid or what a workshop leader is paid or a teacher, they would, if they're on the board and they're one of those functions, then
Yes.
they would recuse themselves from any financial, correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
She's welcome to ask her first question.
And go ahead and ask your first question.
I don't know who's all in the room. So when you say everybody in the room meets the standard of core community, terrific. But how, as a person who's just getting involved, if I were someone just getting involved, how would I know that I had moved from committed community to core community, that I was now part of the core community? How would I be identified and how would I be notified?
Well, you would be identified by the attendance, by the time, talent, and treasure that you give to the community. And that is tracked by the board. And so the board would let that person know. For instance, when I sent out the email of these bylaws with the agenda, the bylaws, and told everybody that we were having this meeting, I said, if you are receiving this email, you are considered a core community and you can vote.
Okay, what kind of recourse if I think I should be a member and I'm not included?
We don't have members.
It's not a membership.
Or
If you're a core community and you think you should be, then you go to the president of the board and ask. Yes.
I was actually wondering the same thing, is there's gonna be specifics. Like, let's say I'm in a committed and I wanna be able to vote, so that means I gotta move up to the case. Well, I know that if I do what, show up 3 times a month, tithe so much money, take how many classes a year, what do I need to do that will prove that I am part of the core community? That nobody decides, the stats decide. And what are those stats?
that you tithe, it's not an amount.
Yeah, we don't have a specific amount that you have to tithe. And your regular attendance, I wouldn't say that it's 3 times. We're gonna know by our attendance book, are you here more than not? And are you volunteering? Are you helping out? Are you part of the community? Or do you just come once in a great while and then disappear? That's trackable. And it's okay if you do that, and we're okay with those people doing that. I think it's hard for us to switch our brains because we're from that generation that wants to be, this is what I need to do to get to here. And the younger generation doesn't want to do that. They want to give and be a part of, and they don't really want the title of a member. They want to be fluid. So to answer your question, we're keeping track of this. And if somebody has an idea in their head that they should be core community and they're not, then it's a conversation they need to have with the board of directors so that we can take a look at what they're saying. This is why I think I need to be a core community, and the board of directors can decide that.
And it could be visit with clergy, and and we
They could visit with the clergy as well.
Support, and because it sounds like that, if that's what they desire, we can be very supportive.
Can you hear Reverend Sharon?
Yes,
Can you hear what she said?
yes.
Can you say that?
Sure, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a conversation with the board if you're going to be stats related. It's a conversation with the clergy if you want to become more involved and be a part of this community in a different way. That's when you meet with the clergy and a practitioner to help you through that. Absolutely.
But I think for sure this model is it's very much like our teaching. It's going to require us to do the inner work and be the example in the model, rather than just assume by rules, that this is happening. It's going to be rather than just a membership model, it's going to be more of a behavioral, and I believe that the welcoming, and we're already growing. In fact, Max hasn't been here in a little while. He's had a few things going on in his life. When he showed up today, we went, wow, you are growing, and we are. And that is in consciousness. There are no rules and regulations to monitor that. So this is to me, an exciting model. It's a trust walk, and it's just exciting to me. And it was different. So, different is,
You're right. I'll give you
Want
a,
to say something?
Oh, absolutely. Go ahead.
I can step up here. So I think also as a board member, this model requires the board to actually put their thinking caps on. Because this is not a willy-nilly thing as far as, oh, you're a core member and you're not, and you're a core member and you're not. This is something that the board has to really take on and make a tangible out of something that we think portions of it might be intangible. And then it becomes incumbent upon us to really focus and help Reverend Sharon and the ministry focus on the mission, the vision, our purpose, so that that is clearly defined. And then anybody who has a question as to, am I a core member or am I not a core member? It's really clear that, yeah, I am a core member. I am involved in this way. And if I do have a question, it's very good for me to go to Reverend Sharon or go to the board and have that comfort level to have a conversation. Because if we're just close, what are my next steps? And so it's a piece that the board has to be very solid in the spiritual background of what it is that we are working at accomplishing here by calling this a core community and stepping away from a membership model and creating something new and creating a vision and something that works for everybody who comes through these doors. So it's really incumbent upon the board to really have a good, solid basis in spirituality and to work with our minister to manage this process.
Beautiful. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, that's what we all meant to say.
Max, that was beautiful, and I totally agree. And I guess I'm trying to figure out how the committed community can be heard.
Mhm.
I understand that and I agree, the voting responsibility of voting and therefore maintaining what you vote for should be with a committed community. No argument. But how do you include the voice of the full community?
I can answer that.
But not even the full community, the committed, that
Right.
haven't moved into core, but are committed.
And so to be clear, so that I understand your question, I think we're talking about another important aspect of who we are, rather than how the bylaws have been revised. And I think that transparency and our shared values sustain us in communication. We have amazing, and they're on our website, they're online on CSL website. Our shared values and are really essential, where we have this in writing, how we want to be with one another and how we communicate with each other. And transparency, open communication, diversity and inclusion, all of it is there. And that's how we're going to govern ourselves. We are standing for those shared values. And I think that hearing from anyone, not just a core community, not just the core community, not just the community, not just the board members, not even people coming for the first time, it's essential. It's a human need to be heard. And I believe that we have those structures also in place in our policies and procedures. We have ways to communicate not electronically. We have ways to resolve grievances. And if we need to add to those policies and procedures, we are open and we have a desire to do that. You know, this is a new way of being. I really truly believe it's been inspired by our young people. And I know that from doing the diversity and inclusion work that I have done so far, and that's part of our vision for this year, is to listen to one another, in my opinion, is more impactful than anything else. Talking about issues, talking about politics, talking about all that, that's one thing people can do. But to listen to each other and to listen to our stories teaches me more about diversity than anything else. And we will be encouraging those conversations. So does that answer your question?
No. However, it's wonderful. I totally support everything you've said.
Are you asking whether we're gonna have town hall meetings, whether there's more opportunities for people to come and ask and talk about things?
That's one option. I'm sure there's many others. It's just, is there a conscious awareness, attempt, avenue for committed to become more of the life of the organization? Not just the social and spiritual community, but the life of the organization, because I think that's where the core community exists, is that they are not just connected to that social spiritual, but they're connected to the organization. And that's,
I would say yes.
I don't know how to bridge
The bridge,
that.
yeah, the bridge.
So they have a chance to be heard at an organizational level and therefore encouraged to move more into that core community. And yeah.
Reverend Patricia, can I just, I believe that changing from the idea of membership to a community, I think that is going to be the bridge. I think the bridge is that these younger people are going to see that when they walk in the door, they don't have to become a member in order to be a part of. They don't have to commit themselves to something they don't understand because that's not part of their culture anymore. They don't have to commit to that in order to be a part of and to learn what that community is about and ask those questions. I think there have been younger people that have felt pressure that if they don't become a member, that they're not a part of. And so now when you take away that membership key, that is the bridge. That's the bridge that says you're welcome no matter what you want to be as you walk in the door, whether that's core community or committed community. We want you here regardless. And that gives them the freedom and it frees up their heart to say, yeah, I'm here for whatever, because I feel accepted and welcome here.
Well, and also we all year long made a concerted effort to hold town hall meetings. We did at first when we were, throwing the building at you, we had them every week, every Friday night. And then it got to be monthly. And we in our vision that we were going to give you a little bit later on in the meeting, hopefully shortly, we're going to have our monthly and quarterly town hall meetings specifically for what Reverend Patricia is talking about, just a place where people can voice either their concerns, their issues, their gratitude, their acknowledgement. Like we can be open to hearing. I think we've demonstrated that, and we have a commitment, a promise to continue that. Do you feel complete, Patricia, or?
I think at this point, the best place I can be is to say, let's see how it works. Bring it up at the annual meeting next year and see how things are going.
Do you remember when we did that with the core, council model that CSL came out with years ago, and they said, let's try this, and boy, that didn't work.
And that is the thing that we need to remember. The bylaws can be changed. This is not the Constitution of the United States, and we change that. all the
Apparently,
time,
even
too.
that can be changed.
So, that's a good point. Let's see how it works.
Thank you, Patricia, for your, I love the idea that Patricia was the beginning and continues to hold us in the light, like a lighthouse, and I love that. I am so appreciative.
Well, you may not be as appreciative when I go through the next 4 questions, because you know me and bylaws, I get into details. Doug just put his head back and rolled his eyes. He was
Well-
done with the conversation 10 minutes ago.
So those questions that you have, can you send those directly to our email, our SAC CSL email, so it can go directly to the board and we can discuss that? We do need to move on in our meeting today, and ratify these, and then we can take those questions and we can answer them. We can make adjustments in the future based on.
We can, but I'll have to say I will not vote for these at this point. And it's
Okay.
because I'm just not ready. It's not that I disagree with anything. It's just there hasn't been enough discussion. I don't know if there's anybody other than Debbie Putnam and I that actually read bylaws line by line. Max, you may now be one of us that read it line by line.
He is.
Oh, and Jim Putnam too apparently reads line by line. There's
Yeah.
only a few of us.
Yeah, actually Reverend Sharon's reading them line by line too.
True, that's true, but she doesn't love it.
Well, oh, okay.
I'm
Patricia,
done.
I would just wanted to respond when you said, I don't love it. What I love is how I truly believe this was Spirit expressing through me to consider the young people's viewpoint. And we've worked all year on this.
Yeah.
And I have loved it because it's new. You know me with that. It's
Right.
new, it's innovative, and it's a vision. And that's my jam. And so I wanted you to know that I love what you love right now.
All those details?
Especially the
Can
details.
you believe it? Okay, I am going to call for a vote at this time. So Monitor Cookie, will you let me know who's voting from Zoom? So we are going to take a vote on ratification of the new bylaws that have been already approved by the board. So all those in favor of the ratification, please raise your hand. Yep.
Just this one particular one, right?
Yeah, okay. And you have from the Zoom?
I'm sorry, Ruth. I do have a question, and I'm sorry.
Can you send?
Can,
It's
is this
okay.
about,
All right.
can you send, if it's about the vote,
I just feel that as a community, as our own spiritual community, and having availability of more conversation for the bylaws. And as I am a green girl with these bylaw committee and not as adept at it as some of you are, I guess other community members may have other questions that they're not feeling comfortable asking in front of an annual meeting. I don't know.
that's why it was sent out by email and
I
asked
understand.
people to.
And maybe some have not read it. The reality for me is, I'm just making a comment,
Okay.
because we do need to fine tune some things in the bylaws, because there are a couple errors or
Well,
things that
you
we can fine
You,
tune.
you realize that the board already voted.
And I apologize for that. I apologize. Yes,
We're-
go ahead
we
with
need
the
to
vote.
finish- We need to finish this.
Yeah, the board has voted, but it still doesn't go into effect until the community agrees.
That's correct.
And we are not shutting down conversation.
No,
Mhm.
We welcome conversation. We're at this juncture right now. We'd like to ratify our bylaws. We are always open to conversations about our bylaws. If there needs to be changes, we will make those changes. So this is not this is not the end of, we're not shutting anyone down. We're not discounting anyone's concerns. We value input. We're going to ratify today, hopefully, since this has been an incredible journey for us. And it's not the end.
right.
I have to screen, so I have to see how.
Okay, could,
So I apologize for the delay. We're ready to vote. I'm speaking personally.
okay, we already have a count in the room with the Zoom participants. Please raise your hand if you are in favor of ratification.
Hey, Ruth, can I ask a question?
Yes, dear.
Do you want the Zoom people to type yes or no in the chat so you can save the documentation?
We
Yes,
certainly can.
for notes as well.
That would be wonderful.
Can I vote proxy for somebody else? I'm not sure where you guys stood on that. No?
No, if somebody is not here and wants
Okay.
to vote, they need to send in an email.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, because people are snowed in.
Yeah, so a couple of people already asked me if they could send their vote in by email, and I said yes. Okay,
And I like Susan's suggestion.
yes, so if you are voting on Zoom, please type in your chat in the chat, or yeah, yes or no. Is the chat working? It's not? Okay, then please, for the recording, raise your hand because it'll show on the recording.
For voting yes.
If you're voting yes, please raise your hand. Okay, we've got it.
So we'll get back to everybody after everyone's voted.
Right, so as soon as we receive all the votes from email, we will announce.
And what is the deadline? 1 week.
Yes, we will give it a week to receive any additional votes. So we will have the notice of the ratification this time next week. Okay.
All right.
CSL convention report.
Wait a minute. So those of us on Zoom need to send an email in? Because I
No, no,
didn't
no.
hear where you look for us to
No.
raise our hands.
We asked for the Zoom people to raise their hands. Anyone who is not here that is sending an email because they were not able to get here because of snow or lack of.
Right, Ruth, but I heard you ask for people to raise their hand who were voting for the
Correct.
ratification. I didn't hear a request for a show of hands for those who were not in favor
Okay.
of ratifying.
Then all those in favor against the ratification, please raise your hand now.
And Doug's in here too. Move over, Doug.
They do look different. They both do.
I don't have much volume. Was this against or for?
This one was against.
Against ratification.
Oh, against ratification.
Carol,
Okay.
you stepped out of the room. If you would like to be for the ratification, please raise your hand now. Okay. All abstain? We have an abstain. Okay. We are done now. CSL convention.
All right.
So in keeping with moving the meeting along, I will briefen or make my remarks a little brief. So the community this year was absolutely fantastic and the event was amazing. My biggest takeaway from all of the speakers is that and I'm going to paraphrase this, we need as an organization to commit to being open to change, being open to take any of the biases that we've had in our lives and really look at ourselves and open ourselves up, which is some of what we're looking at doing, to being open to change within the community and accepting and making a stand for all people, to be everyone, to be accepted, and everyone to count, because everyone matters within our communities. And it doesn't matter where they come from. It matters, and they is a wrong word to use here. It doesn't matter who we are. We are an inclusive community. And to peel back the onion or the layers in our lives that cause us to stop progressing, that cause us to say no to anything, but to actually stop and move that no to a yes by changing our mind and by being inclusive. And it was interesting where during this conference and during the convention where I was having moments of, where they were asking me to actually stop, look at myself and look at where I'm not inclusive in my life, and to actually take a look at that and reframe that way of thinking so that my life is different and then I can be more inclusive. And I have simplified some of the talks that were in here, and I would like to talk about them at length in the future, because I think they cause us as humans to be more human and to be available for everyone, regardless.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
And she mute.
Okay, now we have a vision for 2024, don't we?
You know, I've pretty much kind of spoken about it all day today. You know, I really, and I think about our calendar, and when I'm making the calendar, I think about what do I want to put on the calendar that shows our community, our vision. For example, I just asked a couple who do curtain services. Do you know what curtain is? It's very much like a taizé service with music and poetry and meditation, only it has a different flavor. And bringing that to our community, having them come and give us an evening of curtain, giving us having opportunities to have different traditions, different leaders, different spiritual leaders, different clergy come and share the pulpit. And so that you can hear, what do you believe in your community? How can that work with our community together, serving the bigger community? Just more inclusive, more diversity, more, we're bringing back, now that we're in person, there's so much more we can do. So the vision just blew up, if you will. We can have our animal blessing. We can bring our animals into the sanctuary. Reminding me of,
we don't have carpet.
reminded me of Oakland when I was the pastoral care minister. We had a pig in the pulpit, a pig in the pew, a giant pig, and birds and cats and dogs, and that we bless them. That our practitioners, our ministers bless them, and it was the children coming, the different programs that we'd love to have. This is all part of the vision of, and that's why it was so important what Patricia said about I want to be heard. We want to be heard. I want to know how this vision includes you. Like, what do you want to see here? You know, what will feed your soul? And we're getting different speakers. I literally have lined up at this year different speakers than we've ever had before, just because it's different. So the vision is not my vision. It's God's idea of itself as the center, and that is your vision. And so please know that this is going to be a great year now that we have a place to be. There is no limit to our vision.
Thank you.
And now our outreach committee. Anne is gonna come up and present. Yes, please do. So Linda Connolly is our team leader, but she is in a frozen Canada, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
So Anne's gonna present today. Thank you so much.
I'll stand in for Linda and hope all is well with her. Our outreach ministry for last year, we had 3 separate occasions, January through April. On February 9th, several members brought and served dinner to the unhomed at the foundation, which is on Antelope Road, at their winter sanctuary. May through August, we chose to support Cafe, which is clothing and food for everyone. Several of us gathered at Rush Park on July 15th, and we gathered 12 boxes of clothing, snacks, gear, like sleeping bags, blankets, hygiene items. Those were delivered and distributed along with $300 donations at Cesar Chavez Park on August 13th. And then our next session was September through December. And our community donated books and toys for the Marines Toys for Tots campaign. Those were delivered December 13th. We have a generous center indeed.
And we're going to be sending a survey.
Yes, so you will be receiving a survey soon as the committee gets me the updated version. So you can be a part of choosing who the committee will be serving next. So we sent out the survey to ask you what's important as far as what you'd like to see our outreach community support. So that'll be coming soon. So Jaime de Guzman is our webmaster. You know what? It's his birthday today. And happy birthday, Jaime. We didn't know that. And he is frolicking with his family on the coast, and good for him. So I've asked Max to step in and give his presentation.
So I will do the best that I can. I am not a webmaster, but I do have a little bit of knowledge, and I did some searching on this. Can we have next slide? Or awesome. So new and returning visitors to the devices. We actually had an interesting thing. We had unique visitors of 2,221. Sessions by device, which I think is an interesting piece here. Mobile, desktop, and tablet, we had a total of 3,853 sessions. So if you could give me the next slide, this is kind of where the breakdown is. And the main portion, this is more of a detailed piece. We see that most of the traffic is actually going to the home page. And it's actually by design. And we'll get into that a little bit as we move through here. And one of the things that Reverend Sharon has done with Jaime and working with him is making sure that most everything that we do on the website is one page. And if you want to get more detailed information, you're able to actually drill down. And we see that when we go into topics and things and what we teach, Sacramento CSL, donate. As you move your way down through the pages, you'll see where some of the folks get into a little bit more detail. But the home page has everything that we need in order to be able to do something. So it's really a good opportunity as far as the web page is concerned to have a one click through. So you land on it and you go from there. Next slide, please. The main pages that everyone goes to are the main page. We had 2,924 views, our teachings, and then upcoming classes. So that's a real good, healthy piece because people are landing on the page and then they want to know who we're about or what we're about, who we're about. Interesting. All right. Now for the website, unique visitors. That's someone who visits at least once. And a good average is 70 to 80%. We have currently about 63%. So that is a good solid number for ourselves. When we look at number 2, the average session duration. Online, when you look at the session duration, it's between 2 and 4 minutes. And we have 4 minutes and 56 seconds. So we're actually a little bit above the curve on what the standard folks who actually land on a web page do. So we keep them a little bit longer. You're right. So the bounce rate is the number of users who come to one page, then leave. And it's 53%, which is a little bit under the 60%. While this is good, we have set the home page as the landing page. So that's why you won't have folks when we're talking about a bounce rate, they're coming in and then going somewhere else, coming in and clicking on somewhere else. And so what we've done by having the home page be where you go to click to get to Sunday service, to click for the classes, to click for the things. Our bounce rate might be a little bit different than the average because we're putting everything on our main page. So that people are just able to get what they need for classes and being in service and donating and everything. We've kind of like centralized everything. So that is a good piece that we're doing with that. Returning visitors. And that is a number, on average, it's 30%. We're actually at 20%. And some of that is due to YouTube because folks are coming online and they go right to YouTube and then they make that link in YouTube. So they're not coming back to the web page. Don't need to. If they're just participating on the web on the service. And then if they want to be involved with a class or something like that, that's where you get some of the return to the website. Organic search. It was interesting learning what the organic search is, and that's actually an unpaid search. We don't have advertising on different pages where someone's going to click on that advertising and then get to our page. So the unpaid search or the organic search is 57%, and that is actually a very healthy number for us because of the quantity of folks that are actually coming to us from there. And then the social media statistics, we're sitting at 4% on a good engagement rate where people are actually engaging in our site is 1 to 3.5%. And we're actually at 4%, which means our target audience is connecting with the types of content we are posting. So they're actually getting to where they need to be and what they're doing with the posting. And I think we have a neat piece. If you'll go to the next slide, please, we get to actually see where some of the folks are coming from. And I think it's pretty neat that we have most is the United States, that's 3,579 people. But as you drill down, you get to see Romania, Canada, the Philippines, Pakistan, Brazil, and India. I just think it's just amazing. We are reaching not only in the United States and in our community, but we are actually having an opportunity of making an impact in people's lives throughout the world. And that's something that you just can't put money to. You can't put anything to that. That is an amazing, amazing opportunity that we have. And this ends my presentation.
Oh,
these are just the things that you can do from our.
Oh, yes, pardon me. I forgot about that slide. Sorry, guys. So one of the needs, we have new features, and this is one of the things that I was talking to on this. You get to access YouTube directly from the homepage, register and pay for classes. I was actually going to drill down and do some website, but we're not going to do that today because we are running a little long. Access to the Sacramento Center for Spiritual Living calendar and the Sunday speaker, musicians, events, etc. That calendar is actually a really cool tool. And I was having some fun looking through what we're doing and planning ahead. You can listen to last Sunday's services, topics and themes, and 3+ years archived Sunday services and archived books of the month. So there's a lot of stuff that you can actually drill down and see what we're doing and be involved that way as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, let's. get
Oh,
going.
I'm just amazing.
Yeah.
Piece of cake.
You saved a piece of cake for him? Oh, you ate it for him. Okay. Good job. Okay, so now we are at presentations, recognition and completion, and Reverend Sharon's gonna start out with this.
Yes, I am. It is. No, I'm not sad. Yes, I am. It is time for us to honor our board member who is complete. And she's also our practitioner, Margie Lueckfeld. Yeah, and I know she's listening, but one thing I can say about Margie, I can say a lot of things about Margie. Number one, I love this picture of her, but Grace is Margie. Grace, and she has been Grace on our board. She's literally been an anchor of grace for us. Our board meetings have been so lovely and so amazing, and she is the Grace, I believe, that has anchored us. Not to mention her intelligence, her years and years of devotion, and the fact that she's been in this teaching since God. Margie, I'd love to see your face. Could you say something to get you in speaker view?
Tell her to unmute.
Sure. Can you hear me?
There she is, Margie. We show her that somehow. I know you can get in the camera with it. Is that how you do it?
Yep.
Oh, okay. We have a gift for you. And when we see you, when you're no longer snowed in, and we see your beautiful face, we will have the gift here for you, and we'll be right up here at the front by the altar. It is it's a mug with our, what does it say, Ruth?
It says volunteering is a work of art.
A work of heart. And it has our logo on it, and it is I want one. Apparently I'm not ready to complete. So we love you. Thank you for your 3 years of dedication and your service. You're amazing, and you show up to everything. It just is amazing to watch you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I would also like to thank our volunteers. You know who you are. I can't call out everyone, but I can name just a few to get you to understand what this volunteer acknowledgement is about. We have Doug Van Workum, who literally, I call him the gift left at the door with no name on it. He shows up on Sundays and does our sound, but he also goes and picks cigarette butts out of the garden and sweeps, and he, like Cookie, Cookie, who is, I come in on Sunday mornings and she's on the floor in the bathroom cleaning. You know, these servant leaders need to be acknowledged, and there's so many of you. That, Carol Marr is making our birthday cakes. We have Rick Sterner, who has come and up-leveled our sound. He's given us a soundboard. He's, showing up for us. There is so much of this kind of volunteerism that is absolutely essential. When they say many hands make less work, it is so true. Many of us do a lot still, and we are welcoming you to step out of that comfort zone and join us in owning this house. It's like you're not a guest. You're not a guest here. And we come on Saturday and we turn the heat on and we get it ready for everybody. We come on Friday if we have a class on Saturday. We are here doing things behind the scenes all the time. There's Larry and Craig and there's so much going on here that is so essential for you to walk in on Sunday and just sit in that chair and take it all in. And so I have a list here. This will be on our website. Cake baking, we would love, I love to bake, but I don't like to eat it. I mean, I love to eat it, but and so if you feel like baking, bake something and bring it and share it with us. Opening and closing the building is big now. When we're not here and we have guest speakers or we have, guests coming, we're going to need one of you to come and open the door and close the door, making sure the lights are off, the trash is dumped, and so on and so forth. And that can be shared. We can share. Decorating. I'm not good at, let's say this, I'm great. I'm great. And I would, the greatness that I'm doing is inviting you. Because I would love to, if you see that, gee, I would like it to look this way, come and say, help us. We decorated for Valentine's and we're going to decorate for Easter and we're going to be festive. And we did hang our lotus, which was something that I loved learning about the lotus. So we welcome you. We welcome you. I do a lot of the social media, as you know, I do the slides and I do all that. I would love someone else to join me in any of that. If you're a graphic designer or marketing, you are welcome. Leading a ministry, we need, to start some of these at the animal kinship ministry. If you love animals, we have the helping hands where we're sending birthday cards or we're writing to those people that are homebound. Checking on our community if they, someone hasn't come and they've usually come, like, do we know if they're okay? Communication, following up, visiting the homebound. And here's another one, ride sharing. There's a lot of people that can't come unless someone gives them a ride. So these are ways that, coordinating food trains, if people need food, relationship building with local community. Maybe you are Jewish and you can go to the, to your leadership in your community and invite them here to participate in our diversity vision. And last but not least, and this is in all caps, fundraising. You might have fundraising ideas. You might be really good at fundraising. You might want to, tell us, how can we make sure we keep this building? Because we definitely want to sublease, and there are many other ways that we can raise funds to keep ourselves
Or you could be like Corey that can sell anything.
We could be like Corey.
Yeah, if it's on the table outside, so Corey can sell it.
So
Yes.
thank
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, next we have our board member elections. We kind of talked about eligibility when we talked about the bylaws, and Max went through that. You need to be a part of the core community. That's a person who gives time, talent, and treasure, and is a part of the community in that way. So we have two very qualified and dedicated candidates for our board of trustees. And what does it mean to serve? It means that it's a sacred service. It's a service that you are willing to be a part of, going to meetings, taking care of those details, asking the hard questions, being a part of a group that is supporting this community from the ground up. And so I would like to introduce you to our candidates. Oh, thank you. So Nikki Knapp has been involved with Sacramento Center for Spiritual Living since 2018 and has taken multiple classes, including 2 foundation classes, and is currently enrolled in Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life class. She was a member of the Whole Note Choir and most recently enjoys being part of the Song Circle and performing with the Rising Stars from the Song Circle group. Nikki spent many hours volunteering at the parking lot sale. We had a lot of fun this past November and is always willing to help where it's needed. We are excited to have Nikki as a candidate for the Board of Trustees. Thank you, Nikki. Sue Casper came to our community in 2022 and has been one half of the music director since March of 2023. She's taken foundation class and is currently enrolled in the Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life class as well. Sue's dedication to the music of our center, her enthusiasm that starts bands, brings in new talent, and supports the growth of our community is inspiring to all of us. So I give you Sue Casper. So you should have received a ballot that has both names, and a check mark next to each name is a yes vote. Those of you that are on Zoom, if you could, well, since we can't use the chat's not working, I will ask you to raise your hand for each name specifically. So if our person over here can keep track. Everyone in the room, just go ahead and fill out your ballot. So those of you on Zoom, please raise your hand if you are in favor of Nikki Knapp. Keep your hand raised until I tell you to put it down.
It's unanimous.
Are you good? Okay, those of you who are in favor of Sue Casper, please raise your hand now and keep them up.
Thank you, Carol Marr. Huh? Is Carol Marr on? Yeah, she's on. Yeah.
Okay, while Corey is collecting, and I think you can put your hands down now on Zoom. I think we're all good. All right, well, we're waiting for the results of that. Let's see. Do you have any questions or anything from the community while we are waiting for that? Oh yeah, Max is singing the Jeopardy song.
I've got a couple of things.
Yes, ma'am.
If we're doing the Q&A and the community questions.
Yes.
I would like to suggest that the board meetings be more clearly publicized, to let people know when they are, since most of them aren't in person anymore. It's not like you can just stay after church for one. Be nice to know when they are. I would like to attend a couple.
We can certainly post that. It is posted on the calendar on the website currently. It is except for a couple of minor exceptions, it's every 4th Thursday.
And also, I send an e-blast at the first of the month with a newsletter, and it's in the calendar on the newsletter, and the newsletter is on the homepage of our website.
Mm-hmm.
So
it would be agreed. It would be nice though if it was announced from the podium, at least the Sunday before, to kind of remind people, makes it more alive. And the second is I'd like to suggest that one Sunday a month, there be a Q&A or a discussion of the Sunday topic, the monthly theme, led either by Reverend Sharon or one of the practitioners. Just a nice discussion. I was at another community and they do it once a month. And it was really lovely to have that opportunity to clearly get out of social chit chat and continue the conversation that the speaker starts.
Okay, thank you. Do we, one more quick question from anybody, and then we will get our results? Okay, do we have the results of the? Okay, I am pleased to announce that we have a unanimous vote for both candidates on the board of trustees. Okay, thank you very much. I don't know where my slide went for. Oh, there it is. Okay. So now we are going into our benediction, Reverend Sharon, and I will adjourn the meeting. There will be a special board meeting for the 2024 Board of Trustees immediately after this. So Carol, Unterseher, if you want to just stay on Zoom, and we'll include you with that. We'll gather around the Zoom computer.
And I would like to thank once again, everyone who was here, everyone who was watching online and participating online. You are important to us. And I really want to appreciate as well, everyone who brought food, and Carol Marr, who brought our birthday cake. Thank you so much for everyone who participated. And we know that this is God's idea of itself as the Sacramento Center for Spiritual Living. This is the vision, and I'm so grateful that this vision is love and light and communication and transparency and harmony and unity and oneness and wholeness and so much more, especially our abundance and our belonging. I am so grateful to know Spirit has all of those names of all of that and the more. I know that for myself. I know it for all of us. And I am so grateful for today, for what transpired, for all the work that went into this, for all the volunteering that went into this, for the year-long hard work of the Board of Trustees, redoing our bylaws to be inclusive. I am so grateful for this and so much more. And I am so grateful for what is yet to be. This too is God's idea of itself. And so please join me as we say together, and so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. I'm so grateful for being on the board and getting to know everybody. And I love Reverend Sharon's visioning for the center, and it's just fabulous. And I love Reverend Patricia's questions. And I just love each and every one has built me up to be a part of this community, and not just a member, but I have a community, a home. Thank you.
You're missed
Thank
already.
you, Margie. We love you. We can't wait to see you in person again. All right.